Prince Harry. I don't know. Let's get started on this one. Prince Harry. Meghan Markle. Trauma bonding much? There's a lot going on with these two. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about this Vanity Fair article that has been written about them. Who the heck is Vanity Fair? I never knew that Vanity Fair could slice somebody up like this. I remember Vanity Fair from back in my day. I always thought they were Vanity Fair, perfect, and always made sure that they gave us the goods. But holy smoly macaroni, they turned vicious. This article is vicious, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about in a minute. But let me just first give my little opinion, my 2 cents worth on what I think about the royal couple. Sorry about all the noise right here. What I think about the royal couple of Sussex. So you got Meghan Markle, right? She's raised with her mom, and she was born to a black mom, a white dad, biracial couple, but she seemed like a pretty loved kid. She seemed like her mom is solid. Her mom goes to yoga. Her mom just seems like she's an intellectual. She was raised with a good mother. She had a good mom. Let me see if I can get untangled here. Hey, if you guys are looking for a nice nameplate like this, let me know. I can get one shipped to you. Let me get one out right there. Where you go. Yeah, if you're looking for a nice nameplate like this, it comes with a chain as well. It is $60 American. I can get one sent to you. I'll give you all the information below. So yeah, holy smoly macaroni. She had a good mom. We'll give her that much, right? She had a good mother, and she at some point did have a loving father. But I do think he did something a little shady behind the scenes when he, gave in to the press during her whole wedding fiasco, during her whole, what do we want to call it? The UK is real serious when it comes to media attention, and he got swept up in that, and he started to feel sorry for it afterwards, and he did want to apologize to her about it, and he tried, but he did another interview apologizing, and she's just like, enough is enough, give it some time. Leave me alone, Dad. You already embarrassed me once in front of the whole entire world. I'm not going to give you another chance that easily, that soon. You want to meet your grandchildren, okay, fine. But then he goes and he does another interview saying that she won't talk to him and he just wants some love from her. Drama. Okay. Now that is drama. But it is also trauma. It goes to show you that, she is a princess, was a princess, but also is going through some things in her life. Her husband, man, what happened to that young man throughout his life? Nobody will understand. I don't think he is much different than Hollywood people, right? Because he was looked at as superstar status, kept in a palace, treated differently, security, all the money he has, he can buy anything he wants in life. He was always treated with that silver spoon. Not very different from A-listers, even B-listers in Hollywood, right? So I do believe that he was raised very differently than other people his age. We got to cut him off some slack. Now, when it does come to Harry, I believe that Harry at one point was feeling very sorry for his wife when they were in the palace, and she's like, these people aren't right. We got to go. She got married to a man and did not realize the assignment. The assignment is to become royalty. When you are royal, that means you become regal. And if you cannot become regal, then you have no business being in the palace. So she eventually understood the assignment, and she's like, oh no, this course is not for me. I don't know how to do a curtsy. No one taught me anything. Girl, you could have went online and learned yourself. I mean, listen, I'm going to learn a curtsy or two. If I had the chance to go and live in a palace, I'm going to make sure I learn the rules. And then I'm going to, after I get all those rules and all those regulations down pat, then I'm going to skedaddle. Because I'm going to be like, yeah, this life's not for me, low key. I am out of there, and I'm going to go and take myself to where I need to go. But I'm not going to take away that title of being a princess. No, yo quiero un princesa. I want a princess. I want to be a princess, That's my little bit of Spanish that I have. I live in the Dominican Republic, for those of you who don't know. Now you know. So, yeah. And she married a prince who eventually let go of his title because he followed his wife. Now, there is something to be admired about a man that follows his wife, but I do also believe that there are some limits in life. Like, he left his family, he left his home, he left his title, and he said, all right, I'm gone, bye-bye. But I'm pretty sure his great uncle did the same thing too. I believe his great uncle married outside of the royal family, and maybe Germany or something like that. You guys check it out and let me know in the comments below. But yeah, maybe his great uncle, his grandfather's brother or something of that nature, or his grandmother's uncle, right? Something like that. It's like years ago. And so this happened before. So history always repeats itself, and it's repeating itself right now as we speak. These two just can't stay out of the media. They keep getting themselves caught up in that media. First of all, they do a big old shindig with Oprah. Okay, what was the purpose of that exactly? I mean, come on, we all love a good little gossip, but that was just not good. She was pregnant. She thought she was going to catch some sympathy. She really thought that America was going to be like, oh my gosh, you are America's princess. Stay with us. Come with us. We're so sorry the UK treated you like that. Nobody really said that. A few people did. But most people were like, Meghan, you didn't have to take it that far. They were asking what color her baby is going to be. I am mixed myself. My children, I have 2 baby daddies. My children, when I was pregnant, I thought myself what color my children will be. Will they come out with red hair? My name is Cerise, because that in French means cherry in English, and it's French, but it means cherry in English. My parents named me Cherry, but they named it to me in French, right? And I was born with red hair. And so I always wondered when I was pregnant, the 2 times I was pregnant, I wonder if my children are going to have red hair. I wondered that. I wonder if they're going to look like their dad, if they're going to look like me. And I think that's just a normal thing when you are in a mixed race family. So was it inappropriate for anybody to ask, I wonder what color he's going to turn out? No. She's mixed race. He has red hair. And look, the kids come out looking kind of like me. Fair skin, but light hair. I'm pretty sure their hair is going to turn brown as it goes over time. But what I'm trying to say right now is there should be no great amount of pain for you to denounce your whole entire title because somebody in the palace is wondering what color the baby's going to turn out. That for me is not a form of racism. That for me is a form of curiosity. You know what? Put it in the comments below and come at me if you disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'm coming from a very personal level. I'm coming from a very fundamental core level in my own life. And I'm sharing with you that it's a common curiosity. Now, it would be racist if they said they can't get married. it would be racist if they said you can't come in the castle. But yeah, it would be racist if they said you can't have a title of princess. These things would be racist, but it's not racist when you ask, I wonder how the baby will look, right? Now, she took it very personally. And then that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. And she took it back to America. And she thought she was going to catch a lot of sympathy from America. And that's not what happened. The United States did love her, and they felt sorry for her, and they understood where she was coming from as a woman because she loves women causes. But then eventually, a lot of the dominoes started to knock down. And now all of the dominoes, maybe except for a couple of them, are down. Nobody is really liking her. Everyone thinks that she is making too much of too much. I mean, even when you got the president of the United States calling you out and saying that you're miserable, do you know that they were trying to deport Harry because they're saying that he lied on his residency, that, you know, maybe he was taking drugs, because he did that book, Spare. Right? His brother is an heir and he is the spare, right? That's what his dad called him, the spare. Well, that's what he is, right? When you have two sons, one of them is going to be the spare. Everyone knows that the firstborn is the heir. Sorry, just cleaning my glasses here. And so, yeah, so he writes a book called The Spare. Oh, you're so traumatized. You know, like, come on. If you really want to get down to gossip, did you do the blood test? Because that other man looks like your dad. That other man that was your mom's horse trainer, or whoever he was, I forget his name, but he was a hot red-headed man. He looks just like you. So don't go be writing books and stuff like that, because they may just turn around and do a whole entire blood test and find out that you're not even part of their family and say, good, we're not giving you your title back when you get your divorce. Don't play around with people. So, and especially with your brother, who's going to be the king one day, when your dad dies, probably in the next few years, God forbid. I'm just saying, he's a pretty old man, and we all, you know, kind of kick the can when we get to a certain age, and your brother is going to be the king. And that's who you're going to be talking about. You said that your brother pulled your hair out so hard that you went bald, and that's why you have a bald spot. Dude, do you not know that most men from the UK have premature balding? Look at your brother himself. He's like almost done bald. Many men from the UK bald way before men in the United States. I think it's to do with the climate. But anyway, guys, let's get into some of this right here. Now, it is online, and we are going to read what it says together. There are 10 revelations that are being made. 1. Staff allegedly needed therapy after working with Meghan. While previously in England, allegations of bullying of staff by Meghan have been made and strenuously denied by the Duchess. The issue once more popped up in the Vanity Fair piece. 2 unnamed sources claimed that one colleague working on archetypes took a leave of absence after working on 3 episodes. This is before they left Spotify's Gimlet studio together. It's claimed others described taking extended breaks from work to escape scrutiny, exiting their job, or undergoing long-term therapy after working with Meghan. That's number 1. I want to address that first of all, because this girl comes from an acting background. And if you did work with Meghan and you happen to be watching this by some magical possibility, I apologize if I'm wrong. But maybe she's hiring people that she's paying very low, or that are not very experienced, or, you know, maybe they're working on credit to get some type of credit. Maybe they're students. I don't know. But anybody who is a professional, right, and is working for a professional that is used to working on a whole entire set like Suits, shouldn't be having to take therapy after they deal with her. I don't think the woman is that much of a monster. I do believe she's difficult to work for. I do believe she's difficult to live with. I do believe she has her issues and her expectations. But to have the whole entire staff go seek therapy, I think people have to take responsibility for their own actions, individual responsibility. Let's move on. Slammed by neighbors. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's neighbors have slammed the duo as the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet. In a series of cutting remarks in the article, wealthy homeowners living in star-studded Montecito near the couple's $29 million mansion criticized Harry and Meghan for turning their once peaceful neighborhood into a noisy throng of tourists and fast cars. One fuming local told Vanity Fair they moved away from England to get away from the scrutiny of the press, and all they do is try and get the press in the United States. A Montecito resident who has never met the couple referred to the duo as the prince and the starlet to the outlet. Other negatives attributed to the pair include increased visits from out-of-towners. It's being impossible to get a walk-in booking at Lucky's, a steakhouse the pair have frequented several times, and increased house prices. So, I can understand that. But you know what they also did, neighbors? And I'm not taking up for Meghan Markle or Harry because that's just not me. I call a spade a spade. But you know what else they did, neighbors? They raised your property because your property is worth more now because they lived there, that they chose that Montecito area. So I will say this. It must be frustrating for you to have to live there in peace and harmony. But it sounds to me like if you live near them and they have a $29 million estate, then you probably do too. And you probably live far enough away from the tourists and everything that it just doesn't bother you that much. I'm not sure that every single person in that area is experiencing the tirade of tourists going in and out. Yeah, there's probably tourists going in and out trying to get pictures of their $29 million estate. There's probably people eating at the steakhouse. And yeah, the prices did get drived up at Lucky's restaurant or whatever. Of course, the steakhouse got more expensive because just like your property has gone up in price, so has the steakhouse because they are bringing more interest to that area. So, supply and demand. I'm sorry, but I don't think that you can blame them because they're not playing music and they're not having wild parties and arguing and fighting and you have the police there constantly and driving the price down in your neighborhood. They're actually doing quite the opposite. 3, Meghan did not come up with the idea for archetypes, it is alleged. Vanity Fair cites a source who claims that the idea for the Sussexes, my braces, archetypes came from another employee. However, the source noted that the employee didn't own any of the intellectual property. Because of Archwell Audio taking so long to handle production, Spotify's studio, Gimlet, was called in, meaning the production was costlier and required more resources from the podcasting giant than expected. Well, there's a lot of things that people are hired to do, like when they work at a big company and stuff of that nature, they are hired to work for the company, but they are not getting paid for their individual ideas. Like, I don't think Beyonce came up with Cowboy Carter. I think maybe somebody else did. And she probably said, oh, you know what? That sounds great. Cowboy Carter, of course. I'm doing a CD that's all country music. Cowboy Carter. It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And yeah, of course, she probably rolled with it. There's a lot of things that famous people don't create themselves. But what The credit is that they loved your idea, which means that you are a content creator. And you gave them a good idea and they rolled with it. I think that's the compliment right there. 4, Meghan reparents Harry. Okay, well, obviously, his mom died when he was a kid, and she's a very alpha type of woman. So I hope she does reparent her husband. He needs that help. A source familiar with the couple described their dynamic as Meghan having a caregiver and facilitator role in which she is the one who makes things happen. Yeah. They noted that Harry has changed since entering the relationship, saying he would previously pop into the palace's press office, where he may seem a little bored while asking questions, but also keen. However, they added that they cannot imagine the Harry of today being willing to engage with the media in search of purpose. The source concluded, I don't want to be like, oh, it's an Oedipus thing or whatever, but it kind of feels like she's reparenting him in a way. He's a married man. Why would he ever go into the palace's media office and be like, so how are you guys doing today? He has things to do now. He has a son. He has a daughter. He has a wife. He has a life. When he was bored back in the day, he went into the office to ask questions because he was bored and he was looking for conversation. He doesn't need to do that now. She's not reparenting him. She's caring for him. And that is what people do with their husbands and their wives. They help take care of them. I have been super single for most of my life. Yes, I have children that are adult children, but you know what? I would love for their significant others to take care of them just like I would. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think Lady Diana, may she rest in peace, would love to know that some woman out there married her son, especially him being a spare and feeling like he's never an heir and feeling like he is unworthy, and is caring for him. If it was the opposite way around, Vanity Fair, if you were saying that she's beating him and hitting him and treating him wrong and, you know, she's always doing this and doing that, then I would be concerned. But she's reparenting him. She's taking care of him. She's taking the wife role. There's nothing wrong with that. I still haven't found anything in this article that makes me want to be like, oh, I knew it. I knew she was a witch, because I'm waiting to get to that, because I do have my impression of her that she may be a little princessy, you know? But let's get to it. 5, Harry didn't understand repercussions of tell-all book. Yeah, I agree with that. A source told Vanity Fair that they believed Prince Harry simply hadn't believed that selling a tell-all book about his famously private family would have the effect that it did. This, they added, was particularly impactful as the book was published during the middle of the public relations crisis between the royal family and the Sussexes. Sussexes. Tell me that's not a hard word to say. Braces or no braces. One which had rumbled on for years. They added that they wondered if Harry understood the power of the written word and the power of the narrative while undertaking the project. Yeah, I don't think the man understood. I'm a writer. I write books, and I don't think the man understood the power of the pen. Like, the power of the pen is really powerful, and the power of the tongue as well. You put that tongue to the pen and put it all to paper, and you got yourself a horror story or a fairy tale. He created a horror story out of his fairy tale. 6, they are the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet. Yeah, we already read that from their neighbors. So now we have another point here. Same thing. A further disgruntled Montecito described the couple as the most entitled, disingenuous people on the planet. They added that while the Sussexes claimed they left England to avoid media scrutiny, they appeared to constantly court media attention in the States. Well, this is what they do. They're just like Hollywood, right? Who cares? You guys already made that point. 7, I don't believe she didn't know she'd have to curtsy for the Queen. Well, I said that in the beginning. Learn how to curtsy. Learn how to curtsy just for the heck of it. Just Google 10 things I need to know to be around royalty. Fashion and cultural commentator Tom Fitzgerald, who also lives in the Sussex's home time of Montecito, recalled a story where a server at a restaurant told him Meghan had called the eatery ahead of time going there in order to ask about how private the seating arrangement was. Because of her reputation for research and planning, Fitzgerald told Vanity Fair that he didn't find it particularly believable that she went into meeting the royal queen completely cold with no research whatsoever, adding that his opinion is based on information Meghan shared about herself. Yeah. She didn't curtsy. She didn't know how. She should have looked it up, but this is old news. Vanity Fair, what are you doing right now? I'm starting to think, did Harry set this all up himself to get away from his wife? Like, is he just like, I had enough, Vanity Fair, write this horrible article, deport the whole entire residency that he did, get him out of America, get him back with his family. Like, what is this, a setup? 8, it's hackerism. They try and monetize everything. They do try to monetize everything. Another project that came under fire in the article was Meghan's lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. According to Vanity Fair, it is in fact Santa Barbara that is today known as the American Riviera, with all Montecitans interviewed for the piece saying they hadn't heard their area referred to it in that way. One resident said, it's such a kind of hucksterism. I've never heard that word before, hucksterism. One resident says, it's just finding every way she can to monetize something. She does do that. She does, but she's a businesswoman, right? She used to own that blog. She's just sold so much of everything. Like, why wouldn't she? She was an A-lister at one point, I'm pretty sure, right? So maybe not an A-lister, but I mean, Suits was pretty popular, and it's really popular now on Netflix. They had no ideas. This is 9. Despite the major opportunities offered to the Sussexes, I said it right, upon their arrival in California in the shape of Netflix and Spotify deals, they failed to yield consistent, successful content. According to a former Spotify employee, Harry and Meghan were unlike other celebrity podcasters who will turn on the mic and talk. Instead, they claimed the couple wanted a big theme that would explain the world, but they had no ideas. Oh yeah, see, you can't do that. Like, she's used to a script. She's an actor. So she's like, give me a script. Let me read something, And they're like, why would we have to give you a script? This is your podcast. Come up with some ideas. Turn on the mic and talk. And she didn't have that. And Harry, obviously, is just under her skirt. So he didn't really think about it. And look what he thought about writing a book, a tell-all book. Where did that get him? 10. Harry was challenging to engage with. One former Spotify staffer described Prince Harry as challenging to engage with. They added that while the couple were interviewing someone for a job, the Duke of Sussex gave off an air of, "Why should I do this?" This prompted the employee to wonder, didn't Spotify pay you a lot of money to do this? A person who knows the couple added it was their belief that Harry would be happy for Meghan to make all the money. Instead, they think the former royal would prefer not to have to, and to instead concentrate on charity work. Yeah. Well, I could see him wanting to concentrate on charity work because, everything is done for him. You need to go here, you need to do this, you need to do that. You need to speak to this person. That person will be waiting for you here, there, and he's always directed. And I think being with Meghan and her being, used to directing, because that's just her nature, I think it works for him. But then when they actually have to work, go on set, be there at a certain time, that's her thing. And then when they get there and they're interviewing people to work with, he doesn't want to do it, and Meghan is just asking for a script. That's a hot mess. That is a hot mess. So I can see that the podcast did not turn out the way it was expected because of those two not being prepared enough. So I can see that. Very good point, Vanity Fair. But the rest of it is really just child's play. I mean, Meghan reparenting her husband, how many women actually do that? I'm a soul coach. My daytime job is a soul coach and a writer. And I got to tell you, this is just something that's normal. A lot of women will say, I need to pick up his socks. Why can't he do this without me telling him to do it? It's just what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? That's it. And then, of course, neighbors. Come on. You live in a big mansion. You're telling me that you have the time to look out your front window all the way down your front driveway and gates outside to be upset about some tourist going by with a camera? Come on. Even if you are walking through your neighborhood and stuff, they're going to be polite to you. They're not criminals, tourists. They're just looking at your area and they're wondering, wow, this is how the rich and famous live, or even just the wealthy. I mean, there was a whole entire show on it by Robin Leach. The lifestyles of the rich and famous. You know what I'm saying? So take it easy. My gosh. And not only that, again, the prices are going up at the restaurant. Well, if you live in that area, you can probably pay those prices. And if you can't, then cook from home. Because guess what? Your house is going up in price as well. Now, maybe that might not be a good thing because not everybody can afford a $29 million mansion, but at the same time, at least it does put more value on your property. Now, I mean, when it comes to these employees, these are just a couple of points that I just really want to go over again. And when it comes to the employees that said that they need therapy after working with Meghan, get yourself together. If you need therapy after working with Meghan, that situation and you came before you met her. Okay? You are an adult. You're not a child. So you settle your little bati down. I was going to say batiol. I don't know if that's a bad word or not. But settle it down. You are a full-grown person. Go get your therapy and be cool with it. You probably needed that therapy to begin with anyway if you're playing the victim role. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's end it there. I guess that's what I have to say. And the Vanity Fair article, I think they just pointed out some very obvious things. I think it's sad that Harry wrote that whole entire book. I think it's really sad that they had to leave the palace and not have exited with a little bit more strategy. And I think it is sad that they continue on this road where people are still belittling them and beating them down. I hope it really does change for them because they do have two little cute ones and they can turn it around. I don't think it's so bad that two brothers can't make friends. At the end of the day, let's just hope that there is forgiveness in their hearts in the future because they've lost their grandfather, they've lost their grandmother, they lost their mother. And one day they're going to lose their father. And then they'll just have each other left. So hopefully they can work it out. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sister Cerise. And please do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe, of course. Hit that like button. After you subscribe, go ahead and hit that bell so you'll be notified real time with my real time updates. But most importantly, do me this favor. Be good to yourself because you deserve it. God bless you. I love you. Disfruta la vida. Enjoy your life. Bye, guys.